Day 5 of the quarantine. Television channels have ceased programming. You find yourself out of books to read with no content except morning thoughts. Bah, bah, bah. Welcome to your worst nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Josh Elsas, and Greg McAfee with Morning Quarantine Thoughts. What is up, boys?
Same old stuff, different day, man. Same old stuff.
I feel like I need to make a new animation where like a big stamp comes down and poof, and quarantine goes over everything.
Please.
Might as well at this point, man. It's funny, like the amount of people, like my one friend that I don't think this dude knew what a book was. I texted him last night and I was like, yo, are you getting on Xbox? He goes, I'm reading. I said, a shampoo bottle? Like, what do you mean you're reading?
Yes, that's exactly what he meant. Shampoo bottle.
Yeah, I was like, come on, dude. But now we're doing what we can, guys. So, Josh, what's on the docket today?
Well, first one, and probably the most important one on here, Tom Brady's a Buck. Well,
all right, so we are doing the Mac rundown of NFL sports.
Let's just do the NFL breakdown. I mean, let's start with Tom Brady. I think that's the most.
Well, it was in the group. It was just funny because like Mac's only two NFL news he wanted to talk about was Tom Brady leaving his division and his team getting Stephon Diggs.
Oh, you mean locker room cancer, Stephon Diggs? How excited are you? Like, really?
Wait, what?
Let's start with Brady.
Why Kirk Cousins got his extension because he got Stephon Diggs out.
Let's start with Brady. We're starting with Brady. Tom Brady is now in Tampa Bay. TB12 has a new meaning. And I read this morning that NFL executives actually believe that the Bucs are going to be favored to win due to the resounding number of athletes that have reached out to the Bucs saying that they want to be traded to and all those things, and a combination of having one of the best coaches of a generation with him and the fact that Brady wants to prove that he was the reason the Patriots have 6 Super Bowls, and it is terrifying.
They would still finish third in that division.
Behind who?
Saints.
I think that's fair.
And I think the Falcons aren't as bad yet as people think they are.
So they picked up, and the big thing about the Falcons is a lot of people are like they need pressure, and they picked up Dante Fowler Jr., who had, I think, 11 and a half sacks last year. I love it. But they get rid of Desmond Trufant. They get rid of Austin Hooper, who was the best or technically best tight end in football last year. They get rid of Devontae Freeman, and they have no other running back. And there have been trade rumors for Julio Jones. Him to Philly for Zach Ertz has been a popular trade rumor. I don't know if it's going to happen. There's been like writing out there to disprove that. So, but you know, wilder things have happened. So I'm curious.
I'll give you the Saints, Josh, but I'm not sure about the Falcons. Matt Ryan's been like up and down the past couple of years since they went to the Super Bowl. They always get injuries every year. They lost their 2 starting safeties a year ago. Mm-hmm. They haven't been able to play defense, it seems like. Losing Devontae Freeman, I think, is going to mess up the running game a little bit. And when you think about it, like you said, Deke, you got a bunch of guys looking to join Tom Brady. So the first one that comes to my mind, the first one that's been rumored the most is AB. So you add AB to a receiving core that already has Mike Evans and already has Chris Godwin, and then you throw in O.J. Howard as well. Like, that's the best receiving core that Tom Brady has ever had.
I also think that if you transition the Tom Brady favorable offense and you bring that idea of dink and dunk and playing against cover, I don't think there's ever been a quarterback that can play against like a zone defense than Tom Brady. He just finds the easy yards. So if you add that with guys like Cameron Brate, you have Mike Evans, you bring in another wide receiver in the draft because AB is an anomaly, whatever. But then you add in the fact that they still have Peyton Barber, they have Rojo, they have a pretty bad offensive line, which I believe they could target at the 13th. I think they have not the 13th pick, the 14th pick. And it's not that I don't believe in your answer there, Josh, because the Falcons on paper are awesome. Do you know what the problem is? The Falcons are either like 11-2 or 2-11, or like they are either great or a pile of garbage, and they've kind of been bad since Shanahan left. Yes, the man in the hat.
That is the whole fucking division, though,
Except the Saints.
except for the Saints. Saints are stapled on.
Yeah,
Going to be
that was a
great.
safe. So the Panthers are really interesting to me, and the reason being is I do believe Teddy Bridgewater is a starting quarterback, and I do believe they have the best running back in football, and I think Moore is going to have a great year. I don't know what they're going to do at the tight end position. I know they brought in a guy. I can't remember who they brought in, but it was nobody of relevance, and they lost a couple pieces on defense. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Panthers are okay with being last in the division next year, and going for a high draft pick. But yeah, I mean, you're right. That's the Bucks too. The Bucks are 8-8 or 7-9, and then some years, some games they look great. But I put that more, to be completely honest, on Jameis.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Brady fixes that team.
No, but
And
Bruce
I
Arians in
understand-
his second season.
I understand, and we don't need to talk about how amazing Bruce Arians is because we're Steelers Nation.
I love
But-
Bruce Arians. Stop.
I know, buddy. He should have been our head coach. But what I'm looking at is I think Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, cool, awesome, great matchup. But they still only have that, like, one receiver, right? None of those other guys are there yet. If you add AB to it, we know what kind of circus he's going to bring with him. You didn't like the
Chris
receiver.
Godwin was Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were both
Thank you.
in the top 5 of yards last year.
Thank you.
That's
I
totally
don't
forgot
like
about
Chris Godwin. I think he's deep ball, and I don't think Tom Brady's good at the deep ball. So I'm with you on that. But he had an insane year last year in Bruce Arians' offense because the slot receivers just always do.
Right.
So
But I just don't think that a 42-year-old man walks into Tampa and makes them all of a sudden division-winning, greatest team ever, especially in that division, because there's no easy games. You don't have the Dolphins. You don't have, no offense, Mac, before the past couple of
Don't
seasons,
even
the
say it.
Bills.
Don't even say
that giant pile of garbage up north.
Like you have nobody. Like there's no games off in that division.
Yep.
And when's the last time Tom Brady's played in that tough of a division?
Never.
Probably last year
Ever in his career.
was his toughest division he's played in, right?
Probably.
So
Yeah.
like,
Bills haven't been that good in his entire career. And
right,
I think the Jets have had like maybe
a
4 or
year or
5
two.
seasons. Yeah, like the
Mark
division.
Sanchez was good.
So all he has to do is get up for out of division games, right? And that was always pretty easy because they would be playing a Super Bowl contender, and him and Belichick would be like, all right, we got to show everybody what's up.
Yeah.
And they were stealing footage from all the other teams. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's a totally different scenario, and I don't see how a 42-year-old quarterback changes your luck at all. And if you need further proof, I mean, like, look at every time this happens when the legendary quarterback leaves his place and goes somewhere else. It's a fucking stink bomb waiting to
Peyton
happen.
Manning won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, in Denver.
Peyton, I would say, would be the exception to prove the rule. No?
I would say Brett Favre had some success afterwards.
But he went to a loaded team.
He didn't win a Super Bowl.
No, he did
didn't
not
win
win a Super Bowl. I'm trying to think of other quarterbacks that like left there.
The furthest he made it was the NFC Championship game, and when he got to that point, he
That's
looked
pretty
like a
good.
42-year-old quarterback, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it all comes down to how the Bucks protect Brady, because if you think about it, in his entire time in New England, he has never been touched. Basically,
Nope.
like
And the league's-
I can only think
He's
of
been
like,
touched by his kid.
huh? Yeah, other than by his kid,
Okay.
but like he's never touched. He's never gotten a lot of pressure put on him. So I think it comes down to how they protect him, how they shore up that offensive line, because he's always had a good one in front of him.
What if they add a guy, Josh, named Todd Gurley?
Now that's a thought, isn't it?
Or Melvin.
Because-
I was leaving Melvin for Buffalo in this hypothetical situation to help you.
Because I
Buffalo
can't.
has a chance at both of them, so okay.
I don't understand how Todd. Well, I understand how Todd Gurley got cut, but I also don't understand how. Todd
I don't understand how this is the same player that we all thought he was going to be 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, this guy was revolutionary. This guy was the greatest thing that's ever happened to football. This guy was Barry Sanders 2.0. And 17 cases of arthritis and a Super Bowl run later, he's cut.
And he barely touched the ball the past 2 years.
Yeah. I still think he's got stuff in the tank, man. I like, so we were talking about this last night on Tubers Deep. The running back market is basically proving that no running back should ever be paid again.
No.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, but what do you do when you have a Saquon Barkley, a Christian McCaffrey, an Alvin Kamara, a Nick Chubb? You know what I mean? Like, I think some of those guys are okay with accepting little money, but Barkley is the most physically dominant running back in the NFL, bar none. Like, there's Zeke and there's CMC. So it's going to be – and you took them so high. When you take these guys that high, like Melvin Gordon and Todd Gurley, both first-round draft picks. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, both first-round draft picks. Zeke, first-round draft pick. Barkley, first-round draft pick. It's going to be crazy to see these contracts.
Well, and then you have a scenario where, like, Chubb 2 seasons ago looked like a world beater, so much so that they traded away. I can't remember the guy that was in front of him at this moment.
Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, shit, right? Who just
was
kicked
still
out
good at
David
that point,
Johnson.
yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
Jesus Christ. But then you're like, Chubb's our guy. And then you're like, maybe I'll get Kareem Hunt on the side here too. And then
Hey,
Kareem Hunt
for
makes
league
Chubb
minimum.
look terrible.
Well, Chubb still, he ran for like 800 yards or something like that and still looked okay. But when you add in a guy that everyone agreed was a top 5 the year before, it's going to do some damage. But I think, and that will help them be like, look, Nick, we're going to pay you, but not Zeke money. And I don't think Nick Chubb will look for Zeke money, but it's just funny because, like, Melvin Gordon is not getting offers anywhere near what the Chargers offered him. Todd Gurley just cost the team $25 million in dead money against the cap, and they were cool with cutting them.
It's insane.
So they didn't have to pay him 10.5.
Yeah, that was funny to me. Like, to avoid $10.5 million, they took 25 dead against the cap by just cutting him, which is another conversation. Because think about this: would you ever expect that Cam Newton would be cut by the Panthers?
No. Or not even cut yet, right?
Well,
Like,
Not yet.
he was cut on Instagram.
They can't trade him, so it's going to come down to that.
They said thank you on Instagram, and he's still on the team.
Which
Well,
is
they
why
just-
I saw that and I was like, "Is this what's happening right now?" Like, they haven't even traded him yet. They're saying thank
Yep.
you.
How can you – I mean, like, I guess it's a good way to announce that he's available, but also totally you're not getting shit for him now.
No.
It's
don't-
absurd. Man.
Oh, you just tell Teddy, you're like, hey, we're going to sign you. We got to deal this guy first. But, like, that didn't happen.
Like, imagine waking up, Mac, and the newspaper wrote an article about how cool you were when you worked for them.
Right?
Oh.
You're just like, sick.
What's going on here?
No one even interviewed me.
What's going on here? What's happening? Guys,
What's next on the list, Josh?
Well, let's just let Mac just tell us how good the Bills are going to be now.
We have a shot at the division.
Tom Brady's
No,
got
all right.
Stephon Diggs. This is going to be
Witch is dead. The witch is dead.
Meanwhile, we didn't know that it was actually the monkeys running the show the whole time. And it's not going to change at all.
I
Sorry.
don't think I've ever been more excited for a Buffalo Bills season than this year.
I believe that.
So I'll say that. I don't think I've ever been more excited. Maybe the first year of Rex Ryan, because he was so
Mhm.
like positive and so I don't even
He
know.
was like, "We're getting Buffalo to the playoffs and all
Yeah.
that."
Like I was hyped up for that. But then you go out this year, and I don't think I've ever hated a move that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have put together. I don't think I've ever hated a signing. Everything they do has been good over the past 3 years. But then they go out and they finally start to kind of take a shot at everything. They're going out there and they're just putting all their chips on the table. They go out, they get AJ Klein, they sign him from the Saints. I do not have the coronavirus. I'm going to break the silence right there.
I have to wash my hands.
Can you just like talk the other way?
Here you go. I got you.
Yeah. Thanks for moving back a little bit. Oh, good. All right.
All right,
Thank you.
I held my breath that whole time.
Thanks,
All right.
Olaf.
So
Now joining the show, Big Bills fan Olaf from Frozen.
Olaf from Frozen. So they go out and they get AJ Klein from the Saints, and then they sign Quentin Jefferson from Seattle, Mario Addison from Carolina. All great moves. On top of signing, I can't wear this thing.
I know, it's so funny.
It really is Olaf. Like, why do you have that?
Do you want to build a snowman? We could call him Mac.
Yeah. And then they go Josh Norman. They sign Josh Norman as well. And then they go out and they trade for Stephon Diggs, who gives Josh Allen a number 1 wide receiver. Like, I don't think I've ever been more excited for a Buffalo Bills season. And then Tom Brady is no longer in the division. Like, when Tom Brady leaves, like, you guys, the Steelers fans, how excited are you that he's not in the AFC anymore?
Belichick's still there. Like, I'm
Yeah,
very excited, man, but it depends if you believe Brady did Belichick or Belichick did Brady.
You
Like,
have
it really-
to play Tom Brady twice a year every year.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice to watch them crumble. Like, it is.
Yeah.
Especially considering we're tied for Super Bowls, so they were going to get close. And by crumble, Josh, what I mean is they have one quarterback on their roster.
Yeah, okay.
Jared,
That's what crumble. Until they sign Andy Dalton or Joe Flacco or Jameis Winston or Cam Newton, they all have Jarrett Stidham. I will play Jarrett Stidham 6 times a year.
100 times. 100
Despite the fact that I have him in Dynasty, and I think he's going to be really good.
Like,
Maybe.
like fill up the schedule with the Patriots if Jared Stidham is their quarterback.
Sign me up. I want to play against Jarrett Stidham.
But yeah, so I'm excited, guys. I don't want to get overexcited, but I'm excited for this.
Well, I do want to bring up the fact that the Miami Dolphins look good. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but what Flores has done down there, dude, they added some monsters.
Yeah.
So, and not this year, but like once they get their quarterback and they do this draft with all their picks, I think very quickly they're going to overcome the Jets to battle for the division with the Bills.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like you always have to throw the Patriots in the mix anyway because of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Like I think they always got to be in there.
That defense is still there.
Yeah, like
they lost Van Noy, they lost Harmon,
Yeah.
They lost Shelton, defensive tackle. They didn't lose much in the secondary, but they did lose some pieces. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see what they do in the draft as well. But like it's Bill Belichick. Like you can't count him out. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills go out and split their team with the Patriots.
Yeah, agreed.
You know where Jalen Hurts is predicted to fall to, right?
3rd round.
Yep. So you know who, right?
The Bengals.
The Evil Empire.
I mean, that would be interesting. So I like Jalen Hurts a lot, and I want him to fall into a situation where he's going to be good, and I do think that would be fun. But my probably strongest take has always been that the Patriots traditionally don't bring in 3 quarterbacks, right? The only time they have is when they had Brissett, Garoppolo, and Tom Brady.
So I was just going to bring up.
So then you bring in the fact that and I stand by this statement that I always say, the Patriots let go of somebody that they were prepared to play if Tom Brady got hurt in Brian Hoyer last year for youth and Jarrett Stidham to prepare for Tom Brady to leave. I do not believe that they draft a quarterback, keep Jarrett Stidham, and bring in a veteran. I don't know if they carry because Bill Belichick believes that 2 quarterbacks is more than enough because you have so many other positions on that 53-man roster. So I'm not saying that it's crazy because I do think like I have them taking a quarterback in the mock, but then it's weird to think of Belichick going into a season with a 2nd year and a 1st-year quarterback and no veteran. I don't know. It's weird.
You would think like this. I mean, a year after they lose their franchise quarterback, they would have to find some way. I would think that this, if any year, this would be the year that they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, just because there's so many question marks. Like, you don't know if Jared Stidham's going to go out there and be like a number 1 quarterback. I think they have to go out and they have to sign a veteran quarterback, and they have to draft one too. Like, I think they have to kind of shore up the quarterback room and kind of see what happens, because there's so much uncertainty after losing a franchise quarterback.
They always say when the NHL playoffs come around, don't bet against Sidney Crosby till he's not Sidney Crosby. Belichick's still Belichick. And
But was
I
it
understand.
Belichick or was it Brady?
It was Belichick.
I agree on the defensive side of the ball because Tom Brady didn't play defense.
That is the worst cop-out ever.
Anyway, all right, let's move on. One of the greatest coaches in the current day NFL and one of the greatest basketball players in the current day NBA have coronavirus, and apparently so does one of the greatest co-hosts at Thoughts from the Bench.
Top 20.
So, wow. I guess, like, nobody's safe. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean,
two Lakers also tested positive yesterday too.
Two Lakers did.
Yeah, it's very ominous that they just keep saying 2 Lakers.
Please let it be Bron.
It's not. I mean, he no way. If he knew he tested positive, he was on IG Live last night with his daughter hanging all over him and stuff like that. There's no chance.
I think if it touched LeBron James, we'd all be safe.
Yeah.
Something in LeBron James' blood would find the cure.
It'd be like how Magic killed AIDS.
With money. No, it is sucked for Sean Payton because, it's funny because, like, this wasn't serious until – and by serious, I mean to a lot of people. It wasn't serious until a name you knew got it.
Yeah.
So in the same night, we find out that Rudy Gobert and Tom Hanks have it. A couple days later, you find out Donovan Mitchell and Idris Elba have it. A couple days later, you know what I mean? You find out Kevin Durant and Sean Payton have it. The more you hear about – and then you're thinking, like, well, no one else out of those big names was tied to New Orleans. Like, how did Sean Payton – you know what I mean? Like, it's this everlasting conversation about well, how did you get it? And it's not even like, how did you get it anymore? Like, if I contract coronavirus and, someone else does, I'm not going to be like, you gave it. No, everyone eventually, there's a possibility we're all just going to confirm positive and get it. Mm-hmm. But it's about making sure it's smart and safe. And it's nice to see guys like Sean Payton and Idris Elba. And I haven't seen much with KD so far, but like lead the charge and be like, hey guys, here's how I'm feeling. Like Donovan Mitchell has been very open about how he's feeling, what he's doing that day. That way, like if you are positive, you can look at Donovan Mitchell's story and path and be like, okay, like he's confident through the whole thing. He's positive. He's staying in good spirits. Like,
I mean, I think that's the most important part, just kind of being able to stay positive. I mean, most of the guys that have gotten it, I think, other than maybe Sean Payton, have been kind of asymptomatic where they, haven't shown signs of having it. So they're kind of able to stay positive and stuff like that. I know, like, Marcus Smart came out yesterday and said he had it as well from the Boston Celtics. So you see these famous people kind of getting it and coming out and staying positive and things like that. It's just so you got to stay positive and just share that, I guess. Social distancing.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure about this story, but I do believe it is based around Corona. The NBA is staying positive, are they not, with a charity game?
They've had talks about it, of having a one-off kind of charity game type deal with certain players who are known to be healthy and who are known to be in shape and stuff like that. I don't know if it'd be some type of like all-star game. There haven't been too many details that have come out, but they've said they've talked about it and kind of being able to raise money for the awareness of the situation and raising money for charity and stuff like that. So I think that would be pretty cool. It definitely give us as fans something to watch, something to kind of center around and kind of be able to, I don't know if you would say celebrate, but be able to kind of partake in and stuff like that, keep our minds off of everything. I definitely think it'd be a cool idea. And the NBA has always been at kind of the forefront of things ever since everything happened. They were the first league to cancel. I think it'd be a pretty cool decision.
I had a blog idea last night that I'm going to have coming today about how the various sports can get the most out of downtime. And my one idea for the NBA, spoiler, idea 1, part 1, section 2, is that they should have a live streamed game of horse between all of the best NBA players because they all have basketball courts in their house. So a bracket style 16 person competition of horse is one of my ideas.
That'd be great.
Josh, did you get the reference?
I did, and I was going to tell you, if you hire me, I'll tell you the rest of my plan.
People disappear in the Finger Lakes. So watch for that article because it's got to do a
missing
little
in the Finger Lakes all the time.
missing in Finger Lakes. My family's in the Finger Lakes.
I
Snuck
should
in.
really get back to the Finger Lakes.
But yeah, I got a couple ideas around video games, especially. I got a couple ideas around live streaming. So we'll see. It'll be fun.
Have you guys seen the thing the NCAA did yesterday where they released a 64-person bracket? Or no, maybe it was the ACC. It was the top 64 ACC players in history. They put them in bracket style format.
Ralph Sampson.
So Tim Duncan was a number 1 seed. Christian Laettner was a number 1 seed.
Yes.
Dude, Christian Laettner is one of the greatest college players of
I
our time.
know. It's
Carmelo
awesome
Anthony
how bad he was in the NBA.
I'm trying to find it right now.
It was on Twitter 2 or 3 days ago. DeJuan Blair was a 10 seed or something like that.
Oh, I love Don Blair. I see college basketball's greatest all time. It's not ACC, so that's interesting.
So maybe the NCAA started one afterwards.
Man, Lou Alcindor, number 1 seed, huh? What a guy.
I just found the ACC one. Zion is a 5 seed.
Fair. Josh, do you know who Lou Alcindor is?
Uh-uh.
That is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's birth name.
Oh. Yeah, I know who that guy is. I've heard of him.
Michael Jordan is a 2 seed on this bracket.
That's interesting.
So wait a minute. How did he changed his name?
Yes. Due to, I can't think of the religion. Is it Islam? I believe Islam.
Sounds right.
I'm now looking at his Wikipedia page because it's fascinating. I did not
Yeah,
know that.
A lot of people did back in the day. They changed their name to something. I think it was the Brothers of Islam, but I don't want to be terribly wrong on that. It was very Malcolm X-ish time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was Lou Alcindor for UCLA, and I think a year for the Bucks. So when they say that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest college basketball player of all time, you say no, Lou Alcindor.
Are we ready to move on? I'm so sorry. That sounds cool, though. I
like looking things up on Wikipedia.
I know. That's why I'm I can't look at Wikipedia. I'll just be quiet and just scrolling. Yeah, that sounds cool. I am very excited to mock whatever the NHL does as a follow-up to what the NBA does. Oh, yeah, let's have everyone shoot pucks into their dryers like Sidney Crosby would.
Did you see Vo playing Top Shelf yesterday?
No.
He had a dresser in his garage, and he took out the middle top drawer and would try to shoot in there and replaced it, and then took out the top right and would shoot it in there. Vo's, hey, he's. If I needed a third line center, there's no one on the planet I would take over Ryan Votash.
Well,
He's a
I would
grinder.
because first off, he's a goalie.
No, he's not.
He plays goalie in most of those leagues.
Nowadays, in college, he never touched the goal. Back in prime. You don't know shit about Votash. Don't act like you got my notes.
I still would not.
Vo's only played he always played it as for fun, but he was very good out on the rink. Can't even say, well, he was in line. He was on ice, so
right.
Out on the gymnasium.
Let's talk about, and really I probably should have flipped these two and we can kind of talk about them in unison. There's still a lot of quarterbacks out there that need a home, and I think the Steelers are one of those homes.
Yeah. Backup. They need a backup.
I don't think they need a backup.
Does Pittsburgh Steelers still have a first-round grade on Mason Rudolph. The Pittsburgh Steelers believe that out of JT Barrett, Paxton Lynch, Delvin Duck Hodges, they can find a solid competition for Mason Rudolph. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not believe that last year was the way that Mason Rudolph's career will end. All that being said, Mason's booty cheeks. So I don't hate the idea, but Jameis would cost too much. I don't think Cam is a trustworthy option for us right now. I do believe that Ben's going to come back and have 2 more years. I don't want to touch – everyone's talking about Joe Flacco, and it's not that I hate Joe Flacco, but I'd take Ben over Joe Flacco even hurt. And Andy Dalton, no. The only guy that I'd be like, yo, sign him is my homie G, Nick Mullins from the 49ers, who I still am obsessed with, so –
What if since the Bears got a shiny new toy, what if they tried to trade for Trubisky?
So we did do a lot of, so it's interesting because all the people that are saying, well, we don't have the cap room, we did an insane amount of restructuring. So it's not that we have this absurd amount of cap space, but we do have much more, which is fun to play with. The problem for me is that the Steelers don't have much draft capital this year. And that's a little damning. So we would have to send something in the form of a player or what it is. I think that the Bears said this in the beginning of the year. They said, we want to bring, or the beginning of the offseason, they said, we're bringing in a veteran to push Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
And they did it. Now, I'm not using $88 million 2-year Joe or Nick Foles. I'm just calling him Joe Flacco. Joe Foles to push Mitch Trubisky. So I'm with you, but do you believe that Mitch Trubisky is a good quarterback?
I think that in the right system or with a actual coach, he is.
I think it's fair. It's funny because Matt Nagy is a very gadgety type of guy. Mm-hmm. So Trubisky should work in his system. Tomlin isn't really a gadget. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think we've seen the best of Trubisky, and I don't think it's Mitch's fault.
I don't either, and I think that a young quarterback with the young receiving core we have is a better match than bringing in a veteran who's going to try to get on the same level as those guys. We have so much speed on offense.
I think you guys need a quarterback who can I feel like so Big Ben is at the end of his career. Obviously, Mason Rudolph's not the quarterback of the future. Duck Hodges probably isn't the quarterback of the future. So
really,
I feel like you kind of need a veteran bridge quarterback who can, bridge the gap between Big Ben and the backups and a future quarterback. Someone who's a little younger, someone who obviously has talent and can carry a team.
I will say this. As much as last year was funny, I don't believe that last year was the perfect example of Mason Rudolph's playing ability. I think he was put into – I mean, if you consider the fact that when he was instantly put into the position, wasn't terrible, and then he gets knocked out against Baltimore, cold on our televisions.
Yeah.
That might mess with him more than anything on the planet because Earl Thomas came in with a steam for his head. So I'm perfectly willing to give Mason Rudolph another shot. The only other conversation is that we now have the best defense we've had since 2005 with Polamalu. You know what I mean? We now have the best defense in forever, and I don't want to get into a situation where we waste yet another killer bee situation. So
well, and that D-line isn't getting any younger.
We lost, obviously, big names there. Some.
I think that we're in a scenario where and at the other point in time, too, you almost want to strike while the fire's hot with that receiving core, too. And
yeah, I agree. And I think that it's funny because everyone's like, we need to draft. We need to bring in a receiver. Well, I don't – the reason I agree with your head shake is because who do you push down? Are you going to tell me that you're going to push James Washington down? Are you going to tell me you're going to push Deontay Johnson down? You're going to push Juju down? No. So then you're adding a wide receiver 4 in a situation where we have some guys that could make the roster. So –
I'd take a tight end in a hot minute, but I would not. I'd not take another receiver.
Yeah, I want us to get Alberto out of Mizzou, man. The guy that ran the fastest 40 out of tight ends. I think that he'll be there in the 4th round, just because the depth. And this tight end class is extremely depth. So Harrison Bryant, Cole Kmet, a couple guys. So I think we'll be okay at the tight end position. I don't think Vance is it. I like Gentry, but I don't think he's it. So we'll see.
What
What's up?
what was the kid's name who was the tight end during the Saquon era at Penn State?
Mike Gesicki.
Is he any good?
He is on the Dolphins. I would say this year should be a breakout year for him. He was pretty solid last year.
That guy would be awesome because he's just so athletic. He's basically a big receiver, but he gets the tight end role where he just goes, runs 10 yards, and then sits there and waits.
He's a very, very poor man's Jason Witten right now.
Yeah.
That he can do all the things. He just can't do them well yet.
And I don't know how long exactly that he'll be a poor man's version of Jason Witten.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any quarterback that you think is going to go somewhere that's still out there that's going to make a splash for their team?
I still don't believe that the Chargers are sitting on Tyrod and Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
If you can get Cam Newton cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'd like Ryan Fitzpatrick in LA too. That'd be interesting.
Is
he a free agent?
I think he's still signed with the Dolphins for another year.
But if the Dolphins at some point are going to try to get that franchise quarterback maybe in the draft, you know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting thought.
No, because if they go the Tua route, I'm not even thinking about playing Tua his first full year.
Yeah.
So then you have Josh Rosen and Fitzpatrick. So
well, they could try Josh Rosen again. Maybe they feel like they have a better team. Because I don't think they were ever like, no, Josh Rosen's never going to be our starting quarterback. I felt like it was more of a, we don't have the team right now to put around him to make him successful, so we'd rather play Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
But so WrestleMania is a 2-day event now, streaming on the network. However, it may not be April 4th or whatever it was supposed to be. There is a large rumor going on, and it seems to gain legitimacy every day, that actually Vince McMahon is posturing, more or less, to force somebody from the government to cancel it so that the insurance payout comes.
That's interesting.
They've done 3 empty arena shows now, which have been terrible.
Oh, sure.
Now, if they're doing their homework and studying the competition, AEW's empty arena show on Wednesday was quite good. However, it became very apparent that guys like The Undertaker and Edge and what will be Goldberg tonight, they need people in the crowd, because when you have a 50-year-old man out there, them working in a ring without crowd noise is not going to be great.
Are they pumping crowd noise into the arenas?
Nope. Now, what AEW did on Wednesday was that they had the wrestlers not involved in the show around the ring. And that added a dimension to it where there was at least stuff going on. And like you heard like the heels yelling shit at the faces, and it helped. But at the end of the day, like, go watch a Goldberg match, even in his prime, on mute, and it's far less exciting.
I would like them to pan to the crowd and play footage from like the WCW, WWF era of like just like old dude like in the 90s with mullets crushing beers, holding up signs. And so like
still cropped into the 4x3.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I think that would be the perfect way to get through this.
I think that if they don't do Mania and they wait and they do it at the Garden like it's being suggested they're going to do once the insurance money kicks in, they will have missed an opportunity, because right now there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
And the amount of fans that you would get with Goldberg, Undertaker, you tease like Stone Cold showing up, maybe The Rock, that kind of stuff, would be incredible for them as a wrestling company. I just don't know that they're smart enough to capitalize on it in a way that it would be entertaining.
I sometimes think that Vince McMahon is the dumbest human ever, and then he does something, and I go, wow, he's really weirdly smart. So, and by weirdly smart, what I mean is like he does something that gets views. I mean, he's Portnoy before Portnoy. He gets views and clicks, and he gets you to watch. So it's a show every second of every day. So I'm excited to see what they do because, dude, the tax thing or the insurance. Thank you. I've never heard of that, and that's interesting.
That's typical Vince McMahon.
Yes, 100%.
100%.
It is, but I don't like. I'm not sure. I guess maybe because they're not getting money from gates of arenas and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know why they would need that money. But I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be maybe to refund people to maybe they've already spent the money. I don't know. It's crazy. But we've been going for about 45 minutes. Are you guys okay? Do you want to do a draft?
Yes.
All right. So
I'm not okay, by the way, but thank you.
I know you're not. Well, we know Matt's not.
Check me out on TikTok.
So here's
At Deke White. Did
Great.
you like yesterday's?
Yeah.
yesterday's was the best. The baby was the best.
Nada. Problem is I got to top it today, and I have no ideas yet.
So I'm sure, Derek. I'm sure they will come.
Most of them come when I'm just looking at my clothes, and I'm like, I could wear that.
So as the work from homing started on Monday for me, like as far as like they started to tease that we're working from home, sent us home early, yada yada. I took that opportunity to watch Space Jam. You know what movie isn't as funny during a pandemic?
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Quarantine.
Especially when the pandemic starts in the NBA. As far as the
And the
manager goes.
VHS is released to the public on the same day that the NBA shuts down.
Right. So let's assume that the Monstars have taken everyone's talent with coronavirus. Who are the 5 NBA players that you want to face the Monstars? Now, keep in mind, they have to be retired because current NBA players have lost their talent.
So
I like that.
the 5 retired NBA players.
Your 5 retired NBA players that you think could still go at whatever age they're at.
I wish Kobe was alive.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to cry now.
I was just about to ask, but I didn't want to.
I love
If
Kobe.
anyone's allowed to take it, it's Derek, just because he literally might cry on camera.
I'll take him for Kobe's secret stuff.
Yeah, Kobe's secret
there we go.
stuff. Oh.
I like that.
All right. So what's the order, Josh? I like this.
Let's go.
Is
Can I
Big
go?
3 retired?
What?
Big 3, is that retired?
Who's Big 3?
The 3-on-3 competition?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, that's essentially what you're pretty much picking from, right? Or like a guy that was like just didn't get it in and was in college like 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. And G League, right?
Yeah, G League. Technically, I guess you could go with if you really wanted to.
But well, in overseas,
We're talking retired NBA players, right?
that's what I'm getting to. Is it just retired NBA players?
Let's do retired NBA players
Okay.
just because I barely stand a shot at this draft to begin with.
I was going to say LaMelo Ball.
Save the day.
I'm gonna go last. I don't care who goes first and second. I need to go last.
All right, Mac, you go first.
Why do I gotta go first?
All right, Derek, go first.
Are you shitting me? You guys are crazy. With the number 1 overall pick, retired NBA players that could still play. He's short, so maybe, but I'm pretty sure he can still dunk if he wants to. Give me Nate Robinson, point guard.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
It's all right. Wait, are we talking like NBA players like back in their heyday, or that could play like,
No,
right now?
they're right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things up a little
I mean,
bit.
think about the plot of Space Jam.
Literally
right? It
Space
just so
Jam,
happened that Michael Jordan was playing baseball. That's why he was available for the Looney Tunes team,
Okay.
the Toon Stars.
Okay. Let's go with. I'm trying to think of the big three now. Jeez. Let's go with. Yeah, I think Ray Allen could still go out and shoot. I'm gonna go Ray Allen.
All right. Yeah, his career might be the craziest of all time. To go from a dunk contest winner
Yeah.
with Milwaukee to one of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time. So,
Yeah.
Josh, you're up for 2, man.
Okay.
I definitely messed up my first overall pick. Now
This
that
is what I was not thinking about, that I'd have to pick 2. All right. I think, first off, I need somebody who believes that anything is possible. So give me Kevin Garnett.
Great pick. He's still in shape, too, which is cool. I love him, man.
Still in shape. And, I don't know, man. He's a big guy. Just go fucking sit underneath the hoop and wait
It's a great
for
pick.
somebody to
Yeah, he
pass
can
you the
still
damn
stroke.
ball. And then I think I need to just make sure that this guy isn't as old as I think he is. Ooh. I don't know about 54. Duh. I'm going to take Dirk.
Yeah.
Dumbasses. How did I get Dirk?
That was going to be my next pick in there. Nate Robinson reminds me of Muggsy Bogues, so I'm going basically to try to get the cast of.
Yes.
Mac, you're up.
This guy doesn't play anymore. I think he could still play. I'm gonna go AI.
a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I think he could still ball out. I mean, you can't take it out of his.
I'm so happy.
Can't take that talent away.
I was going to take Dirk and this guy on the wrap because I should have taken Dirk number 1, but I'm going to go with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Oh, shit.
Those are great. I can't believe. I don't know.
I saved it. I saved my entire draft
Yeah, you really did quickly, too.
very quickly.
Very quickly. Oh God, that was a good pick. Good pick.
Thank you.
Good picks.
I forgot Dwayne Wade retired for a second. He's still been so relevant that it's been interesting.
Back to me.
Yeah, back to you, bud.
I'm gonna go back to the big three. I'm gonna go Joe Johnson.
Great pick. He's been elite.
He's money. He's a baller.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wait, can Chris Bosh technically play though, since he's got blood clots?
Yeah.
It's one game, bud. He's been cleared by multiple NBA officials. The teams just don't want to take a chance on him.
Okay.
All right. I gotta see. I gotta look at this. Who's older than who? This is where I'm at. Do I still think
There's still an amazing point guard that recently retired that I
there
probably
is.
should have taken over Robinson, but I'm still happy with my pick.
so? See, I feel like 50 is just too old. 50 is not gonna be able to play, right? 40 NBA, NFL.
Michael Jordan would still be able to play if that's what you're thinking.
Michael Jordan is 57.
Yeah, I'm still
Damn
taking him.
near 60.
Still taking. Still Michael Jordan.
All right, I'll take Michael Jordan just because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, and I'm trying to help you, bud.
He's almost 60. I mean, I'm sure he could still shoot the ball, but I guess I got Dirk and KG down low.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. I'm okay with it. All right. Mac, you're back up.
Shaq.
He can't even walk.
Yeah, Shaq can get it done.
Still got him. All right.
Shaq can get it done.
Interesting.
Shaq can get it done.
What's your strategy for Shaq right now?
Just let him post up. Just let him go to work.
I guess there's a good thing there's no offsides in the NBA.
He can slowly trot down the court.
I don't even think he could trot, man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Shaq's still in shape.
Round.
He's in a shape.
All right. So I'm up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I got Nate Robinson, Chris Bosh, and D Wade. Let's see. So I need small forward and center, basically, right? Give me, you know what? Give me small forward. Give me Richard Jefferson.
That's a good one.
Thank you. And the more that I think about it, I love my Nate Robinson pick because after he retired, he tried to go to be a wide receiver in the NFL. So he's still in shape.
And then your last one?
I need a big man. I need a center. I'm not picking him. I keep thinking Yao Ming, but I don't want Yao Ming. I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure he retired really quick because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably still playing in China.
Not Yao. No, I'm not taking Yao. Okay, give me as my center. Give me Al Jefferson. He's 34, still playing in the big three. So just to clarify, but so read Mac's team before he's up for his pick, just so we all hear it.
Yeah. Mac has Ray Allen, Allen Iverson, Joe Johnson, and Shaq.
Those first three are icy. I'll give you that. Shaq can barely sit down, but he's a great DJ.
Yeah.
So you need.
He'll be
I
fine.
think that I beat the shit out of the monsters.
Okay.
And,
Okay. He'll be okay. With my last pick, I'm gonna go Josh Smith. Still playing in the big three.
Yep.
Still got
He
those-
should have always worked out in every system he played in, and he never did.
He's.
Yeah,
I think
it was crazy.
I always liked him when he was in the league.
I liked him in Atlanta, yeah. And then Josh, read your lineup for us.
I think I need a couple of guards. I got Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Michael Jordan, and then I got 2 picks somehow.
I know there's still two guards that I believe could still play. Would you like me to give you 2 names?
I got a guy too.
Yeah, just for the sake of the sanity of the poor people watching.
Matt, go ahead and give yours.
I needed a power forward. That's why I went with Josh Smith, or else I would have went with this guy. I would think Paul Pierce.
So he could probably still stroke. He's a bit chonky now, but he could probably still stroke. 2 names.
Paul Pierce when he was at the Celtics, though. He was such a baby.
2 guards have amazing chemistry, both very fit and both foreign. So you know that they haven't gained any weight.
Okay.
And Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili.
Great ones. What about
Oh,
Mike Bibby?
Tony Parker, I love, but I can't believe we just didn't take this guy at all. And I don't care if he's a ripe old 46. I'm taking Steve Nash.
Yeah, it's fair. He's a shooting coach. I mean, he still got it.
And then Mike Bibby was cool. I like Tony Parker. Oh, how old's this guy? Oh, give me Tim Duncan. I know that I totally just took your picks and slept them aside, but this is at least
you.
So who's your guards?
Steve Nash, Michael Jordan. They have to do everything,
Which is fair. That's fair.
which they would.
Small forward.
I don't care. I know that on paper I know all 5 of these guys, and that's kind of what I was going for. Oh, wait a minute, guys.
What?
Bugs Bunny just got hurt. You need a celebrity late game ad, just like Bill Murray in Space Jam. Who you picking? Mac, or I'm sorry, Deke, you're up.
Why am I up?
Because I guess we go back the other way.
Max up. I mean, I'll go. There's no way that it's going to work out that way.
Yeah, I'm always in the middle.
Celebrity late game. You know what? It's probably the best pick that's going to happen today.
Probably.
Give me Quavo.
Oh.
Quavo.
Not who I was going to. Oh, I thought you were picking, but okay.
Nope. Quavo, man. Quavo is the best athlete in the rap game. He was I think he was like a 5-star recruit quarterback coming out of Georgia. Dude could play in the NBA if he wanted to.
Quavo. All right. Quavo's helping you take down the Monstars.
Hell yeah. Give me Quavo.
Mac, who's your Bill Murray late ad?
I'm gonna stay on the rap game.
Okay.
I'm gonna go J. Cole.
Yep. J. Cole got handles. Hornets tried to sign him, I'm pretty sure.
J. Cole's good.
Not as good as Quavo, but he's good.
He was supposed to play at North Carolina.
Then he got famous.
And then
So here's the deal, guys. I feel like you guys buried the lead on this. Not that you didn't pick good people, but the correct answer is obviously Adam Sandler. Sandman's got handles.
If you're looking for someone to fill the exact Bill Murray role, it's a great pick.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what I was doing.
If we have to pick a comedian, I'm going Woody Harrelson. But
Woody Harrelson can play basketball?
White Man Can't Jump and semi-pro?
Oh, that's a great point.
True.
And he looks good when he runs down the court in semi-pro with the ball.
Woody
He
Harrelson
really
looks
does.
great.
But like
He looks like Steve Nash. He looks like Pete Maravich.
but like these days, you think you can pull it off still?
He's a little
Did I stutter, Mac?
No, you didn't.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson definitely would be able to handle the comedy aspect of coming in, making like one shot, and then pulling a hamstring or whatever the hell happened to Bill Murray.
What about Calvin Cambridge, Lil Bow Wow?
We're going comedy,
point.
you jack.
I'm just throwing names out there now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Biebs.
Beeps.
That's an interesting one.
Drake.
If this-
I had Drake on my mind too.
Drake sucks though.
He's so
Like
awkward.
when he
at
shoots the
basketball,
ball,
and, like-
it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a weird, like, kind of good, kind of not combination.
Right.
Like,
Who
you
else-
can tell he's good, but, like, yeah, it's weird.
Who else was playing in that match? Was it J. Cool and Quavo were playing with him?
Bieber was in there too.
Biebs was in there. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, I love the J. Cole pick, but I think that if I was actually trying to win, like, pick a guy that would make sense, Quavo. I mean, 2 Chainz, Master P, you talk about the game, you talk about in the rap game, like, guys that are actually ballers.
J. Cole's the best. I think so.
Yeah, he's not, but
He's better than Quavo.
he's just not, though.
He is though. 1-on-1, J. Cole beats Quavo.
I don't think so.
Right now.
Right now.
Yikes. Big yikes, man. I think you've been out in Bridgeville too much.
Straight up.
J. Cole is how old?
He's only like 30.
Yeah, but that's a 30-year-old versus Quavo. He's 35. God, he's old. Quavo is probably like what, 20-something?
28. 29.
Yeah, I was going to say he might be 27.
28.
Yeah.
It's almost a 10-year gap.
Well, they were both in the 2019 Slam Dunk Contest giving out alley-oops. Alley-oops.
I think.
Yeah, it's weird to think that Dwayne Wade isn't in the NBA anymore. Like, that's now just hitting me that that guy was available.
It's an interesting thing. It's the craziest part about that for me is that if you would have told me that Melo, CP3, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, give me the order they retire, I would have said Melo before Dwayne Wade. I would have said CP3 before Dwayne Wade, probably.
Yeah. All right. What's morning thoughts?
Thank you, gentlemen, for being on my show. We'll catch you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, wash your hands. And TikTok at DQuayton.